My goodness, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Today we have a special guest, Miss Vanessa Eve is in the building. How are you over there?
Good, feeling good. Got some coffee brewed, so I'm happy.
Oh no, you got coffee brewed? That means you're never going to sleep tonight. You're not supposed to have coffee like right before bed. Can you sleep on
I'm
coffee?
yeah, I'm a caffeine addict, 100%. The only time I quit was when I was pregnant.
Right. Yeah, I'm actually a caffeine addict myself, and I do have my caffeine ready to go. I absolutely have to. I don't know. It's like a thing where when I'm podcasting, having the coffee at hand is just like amazing. The only thing I'm missing is
Yeah,
probably the 420 weed and stuff like that. But
yeah, that's yeah, going all out for sure.
yeah, absolutely. So I'm super honored that you'd be on this podcast. So shout out to that and shout out to you.
I'm happy that you asked me to be on it.
I was shocked when you responded and you were like, "Yeah, I'll be on the podcast." I was like, "Oh my goodness." I have the very popular Vanessa Eve coming to the podcast, and I'm excited because I know you got a podcast that you are working on as well. Can you
Yes.
introduce your podcast to everybody? What is it called?
Okay, so it's Feminine Cycle. It's just a little play on words. It's a lifestyle podcast. It's got segments of crypto. I've been getting into crypto for the last year now. So yeah.
Oh, snap. Don't get me started on crypto. Okay. So you say crypto, you mean like cryptocurrency, right?
Yes, cryptocurrencies, yes. And I mean the whole Web3, the whole thing, like NFTs, metaverse, all of it, yeah.
So do you believe in buying land in the metaverse?
Absolutely, yes. I have not done it, but if I found a project that I liked enough, I totally would.
Would you rather buy land in the metaverse or in real, what we know as real, actual reality?
Well, I want both, but definitely reality first because I'm trying to grow food right now. Like I'm trying
Okay.
to transition to self-sustainability.
Yeah, absolutely. Self sustainability. I mean, that's where it's at. I feel you on that. And honestly, I think the best part about that is knowing what you're putting on your plants and on the vegetables or
Hmm.
what have you. Know what kind of water and pH levels and all those things that are growing the
Yeah.
actual vegetables because we don't know what we're eating as far as vegetables and everything these days, right?
Yes, yeah. Even to like the small things when food gets spilled on factory floors, like people they'll spill like blueberries. I had a friend whose dad worked at a warehouse, and like all the fruit was spilled on the floor, and they just put it back in the packages. So like even the fruit and the produce that you're getting on top of the insides, the outsides
Pesticides.
as well. Yeah.
Yeah, the pesticide or whatever they put on the actual fruit. It's like, all right, what are they giving us and what have you? I mean, we really don't know. So having self-sustainability and growing vegetables, I mean, I think that's what we all should be doing. They don't want us to do that though.
Exactly, and that's why you need to. That's why you need to, because like this, the public's gonna panic again, like we saw
Uh-huh.
happen. I was 7 months pregnant when the grocery stores started going out. So I was like, I need to start
Mhm.
growing my own food. I don't want this to affect my life like that.
100%. And the interesting part about that to me is you telling me that you're into crypto as well. So crypto is kind of getting away from the banking systems and all of the
Hmm.
centralization that the banking system creates and
Yes.
what have you. So you just want to be self-sustained in general. That's your mindset when it comes to your
Yes.
life.
Yes.
And it
Yeah.
makes sense because you're actually a model and a self-employed model as well, right?
Yes. Yeah. Self-employed is hard. Yeah.
It absolutely is hard and it's a full-time job. A lot of people probably don't realize that, huh?
Yeah, yeah, and no matter what field you're in, absolutely, you're if you're not working, you're not getting paid.
Yeah, 100%. So, has anybody ever called you like a conspiracy theorist?
Yeah, yeah, I guess a few times.
I
Um,
get that a lot too. I mean, but why do you think they call you that? You think that it could be that they don't have an open, free thinking mind?
oh, absolutely. I think it's just a label you can put if there's like there's a stigma to anything, and when I say I think something, or maybe this could be this. It doesn't mean I fully believe it. It's just something that could possibly be. So
Right. Like knowing that everything can possibly be questioned or should actually be questioned, right?
everything, yeah. Question
It blows my
everything.
mind. It blows my mind that people don't question everything,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's what you know, the public school systems have, you know, they've kind of exploded the last like 150 years. Um,
Hmm.
Majority of kids go to public schools now. They're just trying to create people who don't really think.
Right, right. I totally agree. And they are pretty much trying to mold everybody to think the same way. And I think
Hmm.
the craziest thing to me is that there is a lot of flat earthers these days and they get shot down. And I'm just wondering, because I'm not either or. I'm not a flat earther. I'm
Hmm.
not a round earther or
Same.
nothing like that. Yeah, but my question is, how many of these people who are so sure have actually been up there and seen it with their own eyes, other than the airplane? Because even on the airplane, they look flat,
Yeah.
right?
I don't know for sure. Like, yeah, it's definitely one of those things where it's like I'd have to go see for myself.
Right,
Like, I
right, right.
can't, I can't, you know, like you have to think about Galileo, and you have to think about times when the whole society believed one thing until someone came along and proved it otherwise. So it's just like back then, they're like, you're crazy. And then until
Yep, I hear you. So you tell me that the feminine cycle is just a kind of a play on words, but what made you want to come up with that title for your podcast?
honestly, honestly, it was a blessing. These name generators that they have online. I just put a bunch of keywords that I wanted, like eight or nine keywords that I wanted for the podcast, and I shuffled them until I got like 6 or 7 that I liked, and I just narrowed it down, and it ended up just being really hilarious to me because it's a play off like menstrual cycle. Because
Right.
you know, to get the domain, I had to look up feminine cycle, and the only other thing that pops up is, you know, period. So I was like, okay,
Absolutely.
so
Absolutely.
it
No,
was fitting.
that's probably a really smart idea to call it the feminine cycle because people might accidentally stumble into your podcast just based on that alone.
You're
They'll be like, let
looking
me
at
look up some
tampons.
tampons. Yeah. Let me look up some tampons. Next thing they know, uh, Goddess
They're
V Eve is all in their face. They're like, oh, okay, okay, let's make it happen then.
yeah,
Yeah,
talking about Bitcoin and Ethereum.
talking about Bitcoin, Ethereum, but hey, people want to gain knowledge in an educational podcast. So, shout out to
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
So I gotta ask you, what made you want to get into modeling and how long have you been in the modeling game?
Okay. Oh, okay. So I was introduced to it when I was a teenager. I was very young. I was in a really unhealthy relationship with someone. I was 16, and my partner was like 10 years older than me. And he was like, hey, this is a job. And I couldn't do it until I turned 18. And when I turned 18, up until then, when I was like 16 or 17, I was doing normal jobs. And when I turned 18, I was like, okay, I'm going to try this out. And
Right.
oh my God, the first website, like looking back, hindsight, so it was 2020. The first website I worked for was called Stripocams. It's not even around anymore. It was owned
Stripper can.
by, yeah, it was strip-o-cams, Stripocams.
Wow.
And it was owned by Bongo Cams, which is a much bigger company. Um,
Okay.
and so they stream it through multiple websites. So it's like one small company owned by one big company. So I got 25 cents per dollar working for them. Whereas with OnlyFans, you get 80 cents per dollar.
That's much better.
Yeah. So
People
I was
complain
like, okay,
about
that's,
that.
yeah, that's what happens when you just like go full blown into it. And then, yeah, and then it went over to My Free Cams from there. Someone told me about My Free Cams, a client I had, and then it went to Skype shows, and then it went to Snap, and just like everything online. So
So like being on Strippo Cam and Bongo Cam, was that more of a webcam
Yes.
girl type of experience? Okay.
Yeah, that was a stream. That was a streaming site. Because that's what I started off with, was just streaming. And then eventually it went over to making content, and then like Snapchat Premium had its era in like 2016, 2017. And then I started my OnlyFans in 2019, and then that got big, like mainstream. So
Wow. Do you still get contacted by some people from the OG days of the Strippo and Bongo Cam?
I have one client that I've known since I was 18. Um, but that's it. Just that I know of. I have had people that have like been following me for years, but like OG, yeah, just one person.
Man, shout out to that person, man.
Yes.
Hopefully that person is watching and listening to this right now. And happy Earth Day, by the way, everybody.
Yeah.
That
I
seems
was saying
like,
that to myself today.
yeah, that seems like perfect for somebody like you who, you care about self sustainability and you probably care about the earth a lot too.
Yes, yes. It's
I
scary.
seen, I seen you talking about the water, the Flint, Michigan water, and things like that on IG, and something along those lines, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's I don't always use. I'm not very vocal all the time. It's like maybe once every few months about it, just because I'm so busy. But when I find a moment and then I'm like, okay, this is something that's kind of, I was like, all right, I'm just gonna put this out there.
Yeah. Well, now that you have a podcast, I'm sure you're going to be very vocal going forward.
Yes, yeah, on that Instagram for sure. Yeah, yes.
100%. Well, I got some questions that I want to get into, but how about we do our first foot commercial?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
All right. What's up, everybody? So, if you love and appreciate this podcast, make sure you smash that like button right now. Of course, subscribe if you have not subscribed yet. If you're on Apple, Spotify, wherever you are, make sure you leave a review, because reviews also shoot the podcast up on the charts. And I know you want to see your favorite podcast on the charts. And we got Goddess VE, Vanessa Eve on the podcast today. She's got a podcast of her own called The Feminine Cycle. She's going to be dropping a lot of episodes, I'm sure.
Yes.
Shout out to that.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Let's get it. All right, we're back. So I thought it was interesting that you said that you don't necessarily do as much foot content as you used to at a certain point. Is that correct?
Um,
Or,
yeah, no, I mean, I don't do as much content in general, but I I don't. I'm just moving away from like I'm trying to move away from such explicit things. Like feet is what I'm moving more towards, and lingerie. Like I've done
mm,
feet before, but yeah, that's a big drop that I don't mind dropping because I'm sure like not that many people right now.
yeah, I hear you on that. No, that's very interesting though. So what makes you want to leave the more explicit things and move more into feet content?
Um, I guess just the toll on it can take, when you are it's it's mentally draining and physically draining. After so long, it's like, okay, if I can replace the formula I'm using to make this money, I'm going to try and do that just because yeah.
Yeah, no, I hear you on that. I mean, wherever you start doesn't have to necessarily be where you finish, by no
Right.
means. So if you started doing the webcam thing and then you started doing the OnlyFans thing and doing more of the explicit stuff, I mean, leveling up is what we all should be doing anyways, right?
Yeah, it was explicit as soon as it started, so that's like it's it's crazy because OnlyFans and Snapchat revolutionized the industry in the sense of with cam girls. Like, so you have I want clips and you have mini vids, but
Mhm.
most of the girls had to stream to make their money or have shows. So like I'd have to make 5 shows to make my goal for the day. So that's me masturbating 5 times in a day. It
Right,
gets yeah, it gets annoying. and
right,
and
right.
so with OnlyFans, it's like okay, now I'm just making one show, and it's gonna sell over and over and over again. Um,
Yeah,
so yeah. But with that, I'm
yeah.
just like, oh, I'm done.
I feel you on that. So with the mentally draining stuff, like what like necessarily can be mentally draining? Is it the interaction that the fans have in general? Like maybe like not as respectful as you would like them to be type of deal?
Yeah, it's not necessarily one thing. It's a lot for sure. It's a lot for sure. I think the main thing is unrealistic expectations. Um, for example, so you can get a custom and someone will send you paragraphs of crazy shit like okay, I want you in the first minute, I want you to do this position and this. In the second minute, I want you to do this. In the third minute, I want you to do this. In the fourth, fifth, sixth, the whole thing is like per minute is whole. I've had that before. And like there are big things that definitely stand out, but an accumulation of just like expectations on waiting or yeah,
Yeah, I
pressure.
feel you on it. Yeah, yeah. No, I mean that totally makes sense for sure. Um and like so like transitioning into podcasting, like do you feel like you kind of want people to know more about you in general, not just as far as like the sexual side of things go?
Oh, yeah, I mean, I don't like I'm putting myself out there because I have had I know that there are other people like me who are looking for happiness. People who have gone through have been lost in life, which led me to where I'm at as a person. So it's not really that I want people to know. It's more so like I do want people to know, but also it's like, hey, you're not alone. Like in all this, like I'm a noob too. I'm doing this too, but I'm just gonna share it with you.
Right. And there's so many people in the world. So whatever it is that you got on your mind, you get out there and be vocal about it. I mean, there's absolutely people that are going to relate to it in a lot of
Yeah,
ways. And I think that in general, when it comes to content creation, not just, the explicit content, but any kind of podcast creation and whatever kind of content that people put out there is when they're putting out the content, they question themselves like, should I do this? Is it good enough?
right.
Or
Yeah,
you know, or little do they know that simple piece of content, could be something that changes somebody's life. And then that will be the
yeah,
inspiration and fuel to make you want to continue to do that.
yes. I absolutely love this topic because I just got finished reading. Well, I'm rereading it. I'm almost done. I got like maybe 20 more pages to go, but it's a book by Austin Kleon. I think that's his last name. Might not have pronounced that right, but it's called
Okay.
Show Your Work, and it actually talks about when you put your work out. Like at first, it's gonna be shit, like it is,
Oh, yeah.
but like also you want that like to put more work out to for criticism, and the more criticism you get, like it's not that bad, you know.
Yeah,
And I'm
absolutely.
like, oh. I was like that with the first podcast because I just released that not too long ago, and I was like, do not. I was like telling all my friends, I was like, do not be like this is, and
Be nice to you. You're like, take it easy,
yeah,
take it easy.
yeah. I was
Yeah.
just like, you just gotta do it. You just gotta do it.
Now, on your podcast, on your first episode, did you have somebody that you were talking with, or was it just you talking?
It's solo, yeah, solo.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you think that you'll want to keep it solo for a while?
Oh no, no, it's not. It's not just solo. I have about 5 guests lined up.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, so yeah,
Podcasting got really big over the years.
it did. Honestly, I felt like I was jumping on a bandwagon. I felt like an imposter. Um, but
I would,
then I realized what it was. It's just podcasting?
I would say this, and this would be like my advice to people getting into podcasting is to, like you just said, just drop some episodes, put it out there, and just see what happens, because you don't know. Like, so the feminine cycle could start off with you talking about crypto and, you know, other various topics or whatever, and then one day you're going to drop an episode, and then it's going to be like about a specific subject, and then you're going to find some kind of niche, or you're going to catch some kind of wave, and then you're going to be like, okay, I see what, you know, people are more interested in, and things of that sort. And then, you know, it just goes from there. Like I guess, like my best advice for podcasting is just stay consistent, because it's something that you have to do even when you don't feel like it, you know.
Right. Being motivated is a luxury. Yeah.
Yeah, did you say being motivated is a luxury?
Yes. Yeah. It takes discipline to get it done. When you're motivated, then it's like, oh, it's easy.
I love
So,
that. I love that. Who taught you that?
Instagram or some shit.
It's-
Something. I I surround myself with just like positive affirmations all day because I grew up in an extremely negative and I'm just like I refuse to think a negative thought. Like I'm not gonna fucking sit here and like wallow in anything.
No, I totally feel that. I'm the same way, actually. As a matter of fact, we just got done saging our house today, and it was
That's
about,
nice.
you know, yeah, about the energy. You know, we're like, no, we got to sage this place. We got to make sure that the energy
Yeah,
is right, and what have you. And
restored.
yeah, absolutely. And anytime you got like some kind of negative thoughts or what have you, man, it is always good to have positive affirmations. And I mean, I don't understand when people don't like to listen to positive affirmations. I'm like, dude, like you actually do gotta have like good thoughts in your head. You can't always be thinking about negative stuff. And that's why the people that are always negative, always complaining, and always talking about the stuff that is bad in their life, they continue to have
Hmm.
bad stuff in their life.
Yes, it's what you put your energy on. 100%.
Yeah, 100%. Let's do another foot marshal. Let's get it
Oh,
in. And remember, everybody watching right now, Vanessa Eve social media is right here on the screen. If you're listening to this, not watching, it's Goddess V Eve on Twitter. IG is Baby Vanessa Eve, just like it sounds. And the podcast is at Feminine Cycle. And it's not about
thank
menstrual
you.
cycles.
No, no, absolutely not.
And make sure you smash that like button too if you love this podcast. Shout out to the live viewers. Again, smash that like button. It helps the podcast incredibly. All right, we're back. All right, so I gotta ask, what are your top 3 cryptos?
Oh, my top three cryptos.
You don't have to tell me your portfolio, but
Oh no,
like,
you're fine. I would tell you my before. It's not like I'm totally transparent about that. It's not.
okay,
Um. I guess. Well, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then Matic.
okay, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Matic. So Bitcoin and Ethereum, those are the big boy
Yes,
coins,
those
and
are stable coins. Yes.
Matic, I feel like is more newer to the crypto world, right?
Yeah. I'm definitely not an expert. I'm a noob.
It's all good.
I was blessed to, I have really good friends that educated me on this, and I ask a lot. I'm not afraid to be an idiot and like look like an idiot. Like I will be like, oh, I don't get this. Um, but yeah, Matic is on the Polygon network. I don't know if I just jumped too straight into that, but
No, I
yeah, and you
mean,
have the
like,
Ethereum network and the Bitcoin network.
right, all the networks, I mean, simply, I believe, is just software. I mean, we're both gonna be sounding like noobs when it comes to this stuff, because when it comes to crypto, you really gotta nerd out to really
Yeah.
find all of the ins and outs. But I mean, in a nutshell, most people know about crypto now, and they know that it's
Yes.
blockchain, it's
Mhm.
software. That's what the networks are. They're software, places that store value, and they fluctuate in price per
Yes.
coin or whatever. So,
Mhm.
and I know that they all have their own use case or what have you. And there's some that are specifically meant for NFTs these days, and in
Oh yeah.
different yeah, and things of that sort. Then you got the Bitcoin, which is more of like a store of value per se, kind of like a house. If you were to buy a house, right, that's a
Yeah.
store of value. So Bitcoin is a lot like that too. But I mean, I feel you. I mean, Bitcoin is the big boy. A lot of people are sleeping on crypto in general, even though a lot of people know about it. I do think that people are sleeping on crypto. It's totally the future and the way the world is going.
Yes. Um, yes, definitely. I was 17, so I was 17 when well, 16 turned 17 when I started college, and when I realized that uh, we weren't on the gold standard, and that's kind of when I was like, what? I was like, what? And looking back at that, I'm like, this shit's wild.
Yeah, no, it really is. You see, like, so the gold standard, I believe, once upon a time was used more, and now I believe they base everything on the Federal Reserve. And I have randomly had a phone call just come in, and everybody did you hear that too?
Yes, it's okay. It was
I've never had a phone call come through on a podcast before. That's wild right there. Hold on, let me.
that's funny.
Yeah. But have you ever heard of XRP?
XRP?
Yeah.
No, I haven't. What is that?
Oh my goodness. So XRP is another cryptocurrency, and they actually banned it off of a lot of the platforms, right? And so this cryptocurrency specifically is supposed to be the crypto. The use case of it is to be able to transfer money from bank to bank, from country to country. And they banned it because they have a lawsuit going right now with SEC, and the SEC is basically trying to say that the company Ripple is selling XRP as a security, so kind of like a stock, but really it's just a cryptocurrency. So it got banned from all of the networks, but you can still buy it on certain platforms. And so, in a nutshell, they are trying to say, like, if you're into cryptocurrency and what have you, I would encourage you to look into it, because I mean, I don't want to give financial advice or nothing like that. This isn't financial
Yeah,
advice,
no, yeah.
but they are considering XRP like the gold standard of the cryptocurrency world, and it's just
Ooh.
going through this lawsuit right now so that there can be clarity, so that it could do what it's supposed to do. So
Oh, wow. Well, thank you. I'll have to look into that for sure.
yeah, I mean, you mentioned gold standard, and like immediately that popped into my mind. See,
Yeah.
I like cryptocurrency too, and I think it's interesting that you want to talk about cryptocurrency and things of that sort. Do you watch a lot of YouTube videos on crypto?
Yes, I did. I did. It was really NFTs that got me and well, really into crypto. I had to understand crypto to understand NFTs, like their full potential.
I'm still a little lost on NFTs. I know what they are. If you
Mhm.
could explain them, like in any kind of, you know, any kind of fashion, like how would you explain
Right.
them
Well,
from
I
your
would
new?
say from a new point, I would say NFT is basically anything that like it can be anything. It's anything that you already own in the Web 2 world. Like there's music, there's artwork, there's tickets, there's skins for video games. An NFT is literally just a, a it's a object. It's just anything. It can be anything. Um, yeah, yeah. It
That
just
was a
depends
great
on the
That
specifics,
was
I
a
guess.
good way to explain it right there. I like
Yeah.
that. I like that. I think that we should turn this podcast episode into an NFT.
We could, you could, and you could split it up, and you could have clips, and people would want to own like that certain, like they did that with like anything. I don't know this for certain, but you could do it, for example, with like a scene from The Godfather, and someone has that for sale, and then that person just pays whatever they want, well, whatever it's worth, and it's crazy. It's crazy.
So let's say this episode right here, let's say that the value of it was $100 and there was 5 available of this episode for the fans and the viewers to be able to own that specific POF Pod episode with Vanessa Eve.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, that's what an NFT is, right? They own
Mm-hmm.
a piece of that, and it could
Yes.
go up in value based on how many people want it,
Yeah.
correct?
Just the market. Yeah, it's just like artwork, just like the market, for sure. And you could do the opposite as well too. It's incredible what uh Tory Lanez, he had a song and he made 1 million copies and he sold them all at $1 and they all sold out in less than a minute. So in 57 seconds he made $1 million selling these on OpenSea or wherever he sold them.
Right. And OpenSea, everybody for that doesn't know,
Oh
OpenSea is
yeah.
where you can buy NFTs,
Yes, it's an
right?
NFT
It's
marketplace. Mm-hmm.
right. So it's the NFT marketplace, and then you got to have like a wallet per se. If you don't know about
Yes.
crypto, a wallet is what holds your cryptocurrency and your
Yes.
NFTs or what have you. Yeah, no, that was awesome what Tory Lanez did, and a lot of music artists, I believe, followed in his footsteps after that too.
Yeah, NFT, it's this whole blockchain technology changes everything, everything in every industry. It's going to touch every corner because it takes away ownership. I mean, especially if you think about it with, Gary Vee, he even said with recording artists, you normally have the recording company, but with this, it's just the artist. And then you can program utilities into these NFTs to where that each time, if it goes from the artist to a fan, each time that fan sells it to another fan, the original artist gets like 5% royalty.
Wow. So the original artist gets a royalty even though the fan now owns that piece of art, which would be the music in this scenario, and then the
Yes.
artist still gets their royalties. What about the person who is the original owner? Does the fan who now owns the NFT get royalties as well if only 5% or what have you is going to the artist?
Well, I would. It depends on the like when the NFT is, how it's passed along, because there's only one original owner. So if the artist made this NFT and has it for sale, they are the original owner. Whereas there's also minting, which is a click of a button when you create the NFT. So it's like you could have a utility where the artist says, okay, if you mint my song, you are the original owner and you get 5% of this. And then the artist can also have a pre-programmed, utility before it's minted to where they get royalty. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. I mean,
It's
but
a
I'm
lot.
somebody who I've looked into it a little bit already. So, talking about this right now, I'm sure there's people that will listen to this conversation about NFTs and be like, I have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. You know
Yeah,
what
I'm
I mean?
sorry. I'm sorry if that's you.
You don't know, you don't got to be sorry because there's going to be people who get educated on this and totally feel what you're talking about. Oh, we just had somebody say OMG NFT queen. Is that your homie right
That's
there?
my bestie. Yeah.
Shout out to the bestie. What, and her name is Claire, or
Yeah, it's
shout
super
out to
sweet.
Claire. Shout out to Claire. Absolutely. Yeah. NFT queen. Yeah. No, I mean, I like talking about this kind of stuff because it's stuff that people really truly need to know about, or you're just going to get left in the wind at the end of the day. And it's going to
Yeah.
be a whole another, era of people coming up that are going to be on the NFT game, and they're going to be the ones winning. And then all the people that were too naive or ignorant to listen to the game that was being given, from people like Vanessa Eve and Claire or what have you, they're going to be like, damn, I should have listened to them. They knew what they were talking about when it came to these NFTs.
Yeah.
It's going to be just like when Bitcoin really blew up back in 2017 and everybody was thinking like, damn, I should have hopped on it when I heard about
That's
it.
when you do it. That's what. But the thing is there are opportunities in front of our eyes every single day. You just have to see it, because when one door closes, literally another door is opening, and that's exactly what's happening. This space moves so fast that it's like, okay, fuck, you missed that. Don't even think about it. Get to the next thing.
Yeah, 100%. And that's why I love people like Gary Vee.
Yes.
I read all his books. I read all of the Crush It books.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yep. I read all those books and I learned so much from that. In fact, I feel like reading books is a thing of the past too. I feel like people are not reading enough books these days.
Yeah, it's kind of like I said, like, it's public schools. It's not, you're not reading things that interest you, or you just go to technology, and technology is pretty addicting. But there are people who keep it alive, and yeah.
No, there surely is, and shout out to all those people. But definitely shout out to you for being somebody who wants to be innovative, and you're figuring out ways to level up, and even if that is exploring the new technologies in the world, because I mean that's truly where it's at. And before, with technology, it used to be where companies like Apple and all of those other tech companies, they would create a product and they would put it out and people sell it. They have a monopoly on the technology game, right, in the form of like our tablets and devices or what have you. But now with the crypto technology and the softwares and the store of values and different ways such as crypto and NFTs or what have you, it gives the people an opportunity to be able to own a piece of the brand new advances in the world and what have you. So you got to take advantage of that in some form of fashion. And again, everybody listening, me and Vanessa Eve are not trying to persuade you all to buy any of these things. This is not financial advice. Oh, okay. She
am fucking buying Bitcoin.
Yeah, go and mine some Bitcoin, y'all. Man,
mine.
Yeah, mine. Go and mine it. But I heard the mining, you can't really do that as effective anymore.
I don't know. I know very little about it. I know it costs a lot, because you gotta be running these computers with these crazy, insides, and it's a pretty penny. Some people rent out a whole apartment to mine Bitcoin. So it's a startup. It's like $10,000-$15,000 minimum on the low end to start up.
Well, hey everybody, I got an idea. How about we all make this podcast the NFT, and then with the proceeds of this NFT, we're gonna go ahead and start a mining field for the POF Pod and this episode specifically. Sound good? You're like, whatever.
There's
All right,
tons of things.
Go ahead.
Oh no, sorry. So it's so crazy, because there are tons of things that you can make your own cryptocurrency. There's tens of thousands of cryptocurrency. Like, people do that. People get together and they make their own cryptocurrency, and they make their own, and they generate their own money.
Hey, time out right quick. What's up with the NFTs that are called like Cum Rocket and all those?
That's the only fans of Web3. I think, I'm not 100% sure. I heard from someone in my circle, I guess, that it's owned by OnlyFans. I don't know if that's true. I don't think it's true, but it's just it's a sex work industry website, NFT, and it's crypto. People love crypto.
That's interesting. I gotta look into that. Well, let's dive into another foot marshal, and then when we come back, we'll go ahead and throw our deuces up at everybody, because I want to make sure that you do what you got to do tonight. I surely appreciate
you. Gotta go to bed early, get up at 5:30.
I totally get it. All right, foot marshal, and we'll peace out on everybody. All right. Smash that like button, everybody. You already know when when the cheering and the explosion comes that I'm coming back.
Yeah.
Man, shout out to that. I want to just dive into a few of the comments real quick, just to kind of satisfy all the
Absolutely.
viewers that are live right now.
Yes, thank you.
A couple questions, just very feet based questions. So,
That's fine.
all right. So ABCD says, do your feet get smelly?
Is there a human who does it? Yeah, absolutely. Especially when I don't wear socks.
Yeah, well, there you go. Have you ever sold like a pair of socks or something like that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely, huh? She's like, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Shout out to that. Shout out to that. All right. So Nelson's asked, what size shoe do you wear, Vanessa?
I wear a 7, which I think is the national average.
Okay, 7. Is that really the national average?
I think so, yeah. It's the most common shoe size.
All right, I'm gonna take a wild guess. All right, on your height, just based on the 7. All right. If I get this right, wait, you don't have this posted anywhere, right? Like, so you can't think I was cheating or something.
I don't think it's recent, no.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna guess 5'3"
I
or
feel
five.
like you did look. Yeah.
Are you really 5'3"?
Mhm.
Ah, I'm fucking good. All right,
Yeah.
so Jermichael Elmore says, "Do your feet get ticklish?"
Yes. Yeah, my feet are ticklish.
All right, so you'll kick whoever tries to tickle you.
Yes. Yeah.
She said, absolutely, absolutely. And William Lewis asked the same. Shout out to William. William is a loyal watcher and viewer
Nice.
of the podcast.
And
And
thank you for calling me beautiful.
yeah. And how are you? Okay. Yeah, we got a few other ones there, but thank you everybody who's watching and whatnot on the live, because that's awesome. But as far as you go, Vanessa, do you have anything that you would like to tell your fans before we get off the podcast this evening?
Um, yes, but also I had had something to ask you too about the whole
Oh,
feet. Yeah,
totally,
I was like,
totally. Please ask
I
away.
was so
Shoot.
I saw your Instagram, and when you first messaged me, I thought that this was like your only podcast, but on your story you said that you had a previous podcast that was at like your first podcast, and then it just kind of tumbled over to here.
Hmm.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
yeah. So the my first podcast, Cipher and Chronicles, that actually wasn't even like my first official podcast. And this actually goes back to me and you talking about how you got to just kind of start somewhere and put out content and you go from there. I started doing like a whole nother topic on YouTube, probably like back in like 2016 or 17. Didn't really go nowhere with that. Basically, I got bored with the topic, and then I started another podcast, basically talking about like a specific condition that I have in my eyes, and I started getting a lot of views on that. But I got bored with that topic too, and I still have that channel actually. Yeah, it's not even really a podcast, but I turned it into a podcast, and I just totally got bored with that. And then I started the Ciphering Chronicles, which is the podcast that I mentioned in that story on Instagram. So pretty much what happened was we spoke about a foot fetish, and not necessarily one that either me or the co-host had, but it was just like about the topic in general, and we got a lot of heat for it. And everybody from the FFC like pretty much just just went wild on us and started attacking us basically. So we started trolling the whole idea of them like going hard on us basically. Like we were like, all right, so every episode after we got attacked was like, this is not a foot fetish podcast. Actually, yeah, this is a foot fetish podcast. And then we put our feet on the podcast,
that's
and it
great.
was my co-host and mine. and that episode got a lot of views, and it kind of, it did well. And then we stopped doing any kind of foot cam or anything of that sort for about 5 episodes. And then I said, like, that episode is doing well. How about we do an episode with just your feet? My co-host is a chick, right? And we did like 40 episodes like that, and it did quite well. Like, we got some episodes that are still like pushing some cool numbers. Like, I think one is almost at like 70K or something like that. So yeah, it made the podcast get kind of hit some numbers that we weren't anticipating. But my co-host, shout out Stella Bella, she didn't want to do that style podcast no more with the foot cam. So here we are on this podcast. The Daddy Goodz presents POF POD, Plenty of Feet podcast, and now we got Vanessa Eve in the building.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And now we know about the feminine cycle, and we know that her episodes are going to be dropping. So I hope you all follow all of her social medias, follow the feminine cycle, and hey, if you ever need a guest on the feminine cycle, I am all open to it. So
let's do that. That'd be fun.
Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you, Vanessa, for being on this podcast. Like I said, I'm truly honored. And, if you want to be on this podcast, holler at your boy. Don't be afraid. And let's make it happen. As far as that goes, Vanessa, don't go anywhere, because I want to talk to you once this live ends. And holler at you all next time. Let's foot march our way up out of here. And remember, smash that like button, y'all. Subscribe if you have not subscribed yet. This podcast is on Spotify with the video, so you can watch it here on YouTube, or you can watch it on Spotify, either or. You can listen to it on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, pretty much all the podcast platforms. Leave that review if you love me, if you love this podcast. Actually, not if you love me. I know you guys don't care about me, but if you love Vanessa Eve, appreciate you all for watching.
Yeah, thank you.